Thanks, Judy, for the intro. Greatly appreciate that. Welcome, everyone, to the webinar. This is Cheryl speaking, and I'll do walking of some slides here for a couple minutes, and then Sandy's on as well. Sandy's driving the slides, so if all of a sudden we're disconnected, you'll know why between Sandy and I. As well as Sandy's going to show us the products as well inside of GP, so you can actually see how they work and the different things they can do to make your life more efficient. So today we're going to talk about fixing frustrations around payroll. That's where, from a WS Tools perspective, the two tools in particular we're going to talk about are MaxUsage and PayImportPlus. Those are the two, as well as, I'll be honest, I may have slid in an extra third slide about another product that falls under payroll, right, Sandy?
Oh yeah, gotta get those in there. Get in the plugs.
Well, and as we go through this, both Sandy and I will be keeping an eye out on the questions and chat panels. And so if you have any questions about the products, just wondering how something works or just want to make a comment, use either the questions or chat place. And we'll check for those periodically just to make sure we got those covered. So I'll be watching those as Sandy does her demo as well. So it looks like Sandy's already over into the first slide, which is great. So let's go into MaxUsage. Let's talk about that one first. So this one deals where, let's say, on your sick time, a lot of you can only take so much sick time a year. And that's what we would call the max, right? And being able to only use that max within a calendar year. So we've added a tool called MaxUsage where you can go in and specify the maximum number of hours that you're going to be able to use per year for sick time. And then what it does is when you're entering in transactions against that pay type, it's going to go verify that you haven't hit the maximum. And if you have, it's going to give you an error message and tell you, you can't enter this transaction, you've reached your maximum. The other place that it also does a check is when you start building your checks for your payroll run, that it'll go out and verify again that the transactions it's including within the check build do not go over the maximum that you're reporting in for that pay run. So again, kind of a cool little tool, but definitely something that can help you out because I know a lot of people track it in an Excel spreadsheet, which I know isn't very efficient. So getting it inside of the product, having it do those checks for you would make your life much easier. So and again, we'll get to see Sandy walk through some transactions and see those error messages and such. So let's go to our next tool, Sandy.
Okay.
PayImportPlus. And this is a newer one too, and MaxUsage is hot off the press. That's a new tool that we're just introducing. And PayImport we introduced a few months ago, but this one is very cool when it comes to getting new pay rates into your system. So if you do, let's say, increases once a year or twice a year, what you can do is easily take the data out into an Excel spreadsheet, give it to the appropriate managers and they can put in the new pay rates. You can import that data back in and it's ready to go all before the next pay run. Again, you can pick and choose by division, manager, all kinds of filters of what data you want to take out of the system for making that spreadsheet for updating. The next slide actually shows a screenshot. You want to take, which we'll see in the demo as well, but I just wanted to highlight a couple things in there of, division, department, location, supervisor, lots of things that you could sort by as you get it kicked out into Excel and filter by. So if you wanted to, filter each department and give it to separate managers, you could do that. And again, you'll see that data there for which pay code, the current rate, and then the new rate would be coming in off of your spreadsheet. So we'll see that in action as well. And now for the another tool, I just happened to slide in here. Well, we didn't put this in the title or the description of what we're covering. So this is a tool, again, as you kind of start out for the new year, where if you need to combine, let's say, contributions into your health savings account, and the employee is putting in money, but so is the employer, then there is a limit that you cannot exceed, right? Or else you get into penalties and some of that kind of thing. So what you can do here inside of GP, it doesn't allow you to mix benefit and deductions together. to come up to a maximum value, but we have a product, and I call it Bended Max Plus, but it's Benefit Deduction Max Plus is what it stands for, that actually allows you to combine both the benefit and the deduction together to a yearly max. And as you can see in that screenshot, like this case, $3,600, between the two of you, the employer and employee, you can't contribute more than that. It would cut off at that maximum. So very cool tool. And again, as people are looking into the new year, getting things set up, getting things rolling, maybe a tool that you need as well. So kind of keep your eyes open for that as well. If you want more information, we do have more information out on our website as well for that one. All right, Sandy, I think we're ready to do the demo.
Yeah. Okay, let's roll. So I'll start first talking about PayMax. As Cheryl said, this one is just brand new. So first, for the setup, we come under HR and Payroll, Setup, Payroll, and then we've got our PayMax Plus. And there's just this one setup window, and it's using the pay type of sick, and you can enter the maximum hours per year that any one employee could log for that, for any pay codes out together of type pay type. So yeah, so no more than 48 hours of sick time per year. And so let's see how that works in Payroll. Okay, I had this window open already. Actually, first, let me slide that over and we'll look at, I've got an employee, Carol, oops, and I think she's already used all her allotment of sick leave. So if we look at the summary here, you can see she's already used 48 hours for 2022. Okay, so she has nothing more she could use. So if we try to do a payroll transaction for her, we're going to get blocked. So I'll try to do 4 hours or something. And it's not just a warning you can choose to ignore, it stops you cold. The maximum annual hours for pay type sick will be exceeded. And so I can't go on. I can't even do an hour for her because she's already at her limit. So I'm going to set that to 0. And then I'll just get rid of this line. And I wanted to look at somebody else here. So I've got another employee, Alan. And
good old sample data, right, Sandy?
yeah, yeah, I always pick on Alan. So Alan has recorded 39 hours of sick leave, meaning he would have another 9 left to claim. But also, I have another pay code of type sick for him. So sick and sicker. He hasn't used any of this one yet, but I just wanted to show you that it's looking at the combined total of any pay codes for the employee of type sick. So let's do one for Alan, and I'll do that sicker. So I'll try to do 10 hours, and it's going to limit me there. But 9 I should be able to do, yeah, because then that would put me at the limit. So that's how the max pay or max PayMax. I don't remember the
max usage.
Yeah, max usage. That's how that works. Any questions about that?
I don't see any in the chat or questions,
Okay.
but and I'll say we internally originally called it PayMax, but max usage is the official name.
Yeah, sorry for the confusion.
Yeah, so if you hear us say it incorrectly, we apologize for that, but we kind of give the tools as we work on little nicknames, and I guess that didn't stick.
Okay, so should we move on to pay import?
Yeah, let's bring in some rates.
Okay, cool. So This one is over here under utilities, payroll, and then PayImportPlus. So we've got our export and import. So we'll start by looking at the export. And this is where we can export the compensation data from GP into Excel. So when we first come in here, there's no filter selected. So if I just did export, it's going to do all employees and all pay codes for that for those employees. But as Cheryl mentioned, we can filter, by department, division, location, supervisor, employee, and then we can also pick which pay codes we want to export. And you'll see when we get to the import, the one reason this is important is when you're doing the import to bring the updated pay rates back into GP, you can choose to have those rolled down to any pay codes that are dependent on them. For example, like with hourly, you could have sick and vacation dependent on that. So you wouldn't have to export it if you're going to roll down. So, so let's limit this a little bit here. I'll do, how about a range of employees? Again, I'll pick on Alan and we'll go to Arnie. And then I'll limit my pay codes too, because we'll look at doing it with a roll down. I don't think any of them have expense accounts, but let's see, how about travel? And I think they're all hourly, but we'll get salary in there too. So then when I'm ready, if I don't like what I did, I can hit clear or I can cancel to close it, but I'm going to go ahead and hit export to Excel. And then it'll tell me it's done. And then Excel opens for me with all that, the data that was included with the filters I selected. So let's just narrow those a little so we can see. So this column shows their current pay rate amount, and this new pay rate amount initially defaults to the same value as their current rate, but then we can update it. So I'm going to do, just to make it easy, so I could type in the amounts manually, or I could do a formula like to give everybody, let's say, a 5% raise, like M2 times 1.05. And then I can just bring that down to all the rest of them in here. And then you can do any other updates you want there. And then we can just save this. And let's see. Stick it in my, and we'll just call it, how about that? Okay, so now we've got that done. We're done with our export, and now we can jump to the import window. So here we can just browse to where we put that file, and it remembered where I had done my last one, so it opened to that automatically for me. So I'll bring that in, and then I'm going to hit import from Excel. That's not going to update anything in GP. It's just going to populate the window here for us with what's in that Excel file, and lets us know that's done. And we had some here where there was an amount of 0 because these people are set up for an expense account but didn't have anything in there. So it's giving us a warning in case we want to update that. But I'm going to go ahead and leave that at 0. One thing to note is all the fields in here are read-only with the exception of the new rate. So we can modify that if we wanted, like I can change this to, let's say, Alan was really good because I pick on him so much. So we'll set him to 2150 instead of 21. So I can make those changes here if I want to. And then one other thing is, like I said, there's these warnings here because the amount's 0. So let's just put in $1 there and tab off. And then if I reevaluate, that warning is going to go away there for that one. Another nice thing here is that, you know, in the case of the spreadsheet I did, there was only one sheet, so it's brought in automatically. But let's say you do an export of everything, and then you divvy up that export by department. And so, you know, you send one department head the records for that, for their team, and, you know, divide them up that way. And so when you get things back, you've got multiple sheets. If you had imported that, you would see all those individual sheets here, and then you can mark which ones you want to include, and it would just do them, you know, one sheet after another here in a row. So I think that's really a nice feature to have. And then, as I mentioned, you can, when we do the import to bring these updated values back into GP, we can choose to roll down the rate changes or not roll them down. I'm going to do a roll down. And then if you have HR, you can put in the change reason here. We'll just say annual review. And then before I do the import, let's bring up Alan so you can see that we really are updating things for him when we do the import. Oops, I meant to go to pay codes. Okay, so we can see 0 there for his expense account. Holiday is based on hourly, so that's 20. Hourly is 20. Overtime is 1.5 times the hourly, you know, and so on. So we'll see all of these get updated. So let's go ahead and do our import. And so all we have to do then is say update pay records, and that's going to update with, you know, in GP with everything we have in our spreadsheet here. And because I selected roll down, it'll roll down to the pay codes dependent on these ones. And then again, it tells us when it's done. You saw how quick that was. So let's see, I'll just scroll forward and back so I make sure it's refreshed here for Alan. And so now we've got our $1 there for expense account. And then holiday is updated since we rolled down. Hourly is, overtime, everything got updated accordingly. So that's how cool this PayImportPlus is. I think it's another one that's really handy and a time saver.
And definitely when you got a lot of employees, you got to get updated for that next pay run, right? So.
Oh yeah, for sure. Let's see. I think that's about it. I don't think I missed anything I was going to say there. Can you think of anything else, Cheryl, that I missed? So
no, and I think you pointed out, you know, one of the questions was, can you do multiple sheets? And you can. Yep, you just need to mark them there on top, and it'll bring all that data into one display window. Or you could do each sheet separately if you wanted to. If you wanted to bring in the first sheet, analyze that, import that, and then do your second sheet. You know, you would have the choice, but you could bring them all in at once, which is, I think, some cool functionality.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, the other question we get sometimes too is right now max usage is for sick time. If you have a need to do it for any other pay types, you know, I would ask that you let us know. You can certainly drop us a suggestion, as well as you could, you know, talk to the sales team at sales@iscorp.biz as well, and they can pass that on to us as well. So that would be, but right now it is for the sick pay.
Yeah, that's a good point to make. Yeah, because if we needed to, we could add others, and then that drop down would be enabled.
Right. We built it that way, right, Sandy?
We did.
With the intent that we can add more as people have that request. So if you want to hop to the last slide, if you're done with the
Yeah.
demo.
Yep.
I just want to bring up the contact information as well. They're at sales@iscorp.biz, as well as our phone number. Also, too, all of our tools have demos out on our site at iscorp.biz. So if you're interested in looking for a certain type of tool, you know, do you have something that does X? that's the place to look, as well as the tools we talked about today and the other tools that we have. There are little, snippets out there. Sandy's done, several recordings, 2 to 5 minute demos of each of the tools, so you can kind of see what they are, as well as if you want to dig a little deeper and we can do more demo and more questions on one-on-one, we'd certainly be open to that as well. So just let us know what you want for next steps. So anything else, Sandy, on your side?
No, I think we're good, and thank you everybody for coming.
Yep, and I would agree. Judy, I don't know if she's jumping back in, but just want to say thank you for attending. And this has been recorded, so it will be posted as well. And so if you want to revisit the topic or ask any questions, again, reach out. We'll be here to answer those. Thanks, everyone.